Welcome everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today I would like to talk about this possibility of us getting another Nintendo published game in the month of April. And the reason why I think there's this possibility is because there is a rumor for a Nintendo Direct this April. Again, a rumor. It is unconfirmed at this point, only time will truly tell if we're going to get a general Nintendo Direct in April. But there are a few different people who have suggested this may happen. We've covered this in the past. I'll have that video on the iCard and also on the end screen if you want to check that out. But operating under the assumption that we get a Nintendo Direct, which I would say we kind of desperately need this April, can there be some type of Shadow Drop announcement? A Shadow Drop being a game that's announced during the Direct and it releases the same day. I think so, and I would like to go more into detail on the possibilities here. But before going forward, let me point out that we are aiming for a goal of 40,000 subscribers, so if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. So Nintendo has created a bit of a pattern when it comes to their general Nintendo Directs, and thus getting some type of Shadow Drop announcement that is a published title from them. It hasn't always been a Nintendo published title that's being Shadow Dropped during a Direct. However, throughout the year of 2023, and the 3 general Nintendo Directs that we got, there was a Shadow Drop Nintendo published game. So in the February 2023 Direct, it was Metroid Prime Remastered. In the June Direct, it was Pikmin 1 and 2 in anticipation for Pikmin 4. And then in the September Direct, it wasn't a remaster, but actually a bit of a new release in F-Zero 99, which is exclusive to Nintendo Switch Online members, and is obviously a repurposing of a Super Nintendo F-Zero game, but still it's a unique spin and an interesting release, and still a Nintendo game that was Shadow Dropped during a general Direct. So from the last 3 general Nintendo Directs, we've gotten some sort of Shadow Drop game that was also a Nintendo published title. So if we are to get another general Nintendo Direct this April, could there be another Shadow Dropped game? And I think the answer to that is most likely yes. Even if it's not a Nintendo published title, most Directs see some type of Shadow Drop, if not multiple Shadow Drops. But what most Nintendo fans are hoping for is a Nintendo published Shadow Drop, and based off last year, well, there's a good chance the next general Direct will have something similar as well. So then, what might that be? As I noted earlier, there were a few remasters that have been Shadow Dropped, so my bet would be another remaster, but it could possibly be some type of new release. I would assume it wouldn't be a brand new title that we haven't heard about at all, this ground up original, more likely something smaller, something like F-Zero 99. But us seeing another brand new NSO exclusive title Shadow Drop during the next Direct, I would say is unlikely because Nintendo doesn't do these kinds of games every single Direct. It's not even every single year. So given that we just got F-Zero 99 last September, I'm thinking that if there is to be another Nintendo Shadow Drop game, probably going to be some kind of remaster. But what might that be? Some surely would speculate that it might be The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD or The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. I don't think so. I'm not saying they can't happen, but I'm personally thinking that if they do come, they would come in some sort of collector's pack of some kind, and I think Nintendo would save them for a bigger release in the second half of the year if they are indeed happening this year. And they probably wouldn't be Shadow Dropped in my opinion. I could see them actually being announced a little bit of ahead of time, not significantly, but some amount, maybe something similar to Super Mario 3D All-Stars. But these games have been in high demand for a very, very long time. Something that I think actually has a higher chance than these would be a Shadow Drop for Metroid Prime 2 Remastered. Many are thinking that if Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a holiday release for 2024, then showcasing it in the next big Direct makes the most sense. And if this is to be the case, if we're going to get maybe that first actual gameplay related trailer for Metroid Prime 4, they could also Shadow Drop Metroid Prime 2 Remastered, and then maybe in the later year Direct, shortly before the holidays, they Shadow Drop Metroid Prime 3, and then we have the entire Metroid Prime trilogy before the release for Prime 4, hopefully this holiday. Now, I state that as simply a possibility. That's not even necessarily an expectation of mine, because with Metroid Prime 4, I'm not even sure it's coming out this year. I think there's a chance Nintendo saves it so Nintendo can release it sometime in the Switch 2 launch window. But regardless if Metroid Prime 4 comes out this holiday or sometime early next year, Nintendo could still shadow drop Metroid Prime 2 Remastered this April, and by the way, they could still also show Metroid Prime 4 this April as well if there is a big direct. And Jeff Grubb last year did say that Metroid Prime 2 Remastered should be coming soon, so maybe this supposed April direct is when we see it. But of course, there are other possibilities. Another remaster that's been rumored is F-Zero GX. If that is still happening, perhaps Nintendo may want to follow up that F-Zero 99 hype from the September Direct with an F-Zero GX remaster now. Now, there's a debate to be had if the rumor regarding F-Zero GX remaster was conflated with F-Zero 99. So it may be the case that we're never even going to see a GX remaster, but I have been thinking that this year might be a solid time to release another Nintendo racer, because there's this strong belief that 2025, the believed launch year for Switch 2, early on we're going to see the next big Mario Kart. It seems like we're overdue for that, and that's a Megaton huge racer. We wouldn't want that to take away from another smaller racer, so perhaps Nintendo could go back to another racing game, maybe something like Wave Race or the Excite series, or perhaps F-Zero in maybe a GX remaster that could be shadow dropped in this next direct. Again, just another possibility. Now, something that has perhaps even more credibility than this F-Zero GX remaster would be this long spoken of remake of Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War. Nate the Hate has spoken of this multiple times. Nintendo has apparently been sitting on it, waiting for the right time to release it, which really should come as no surprise because Nintendo has made quite the habit of sitting on quite a bit of games, a lot of them being remasters, and so maybe a remake could fit into this category. Now, my thought is that Nintendo is going to treat this eventual remake as something a little bit more significant, so it's going to have a bit more time between announcement and release. That doesn't mean it won't be announced during the direct, I don't think it's going to be shadow dropped. So then, if it's not going to be a few Zelda games, if it's not going to be anything Metroid related, or F-Zero or Fire Emblem related, what kind of shadow drop game could Nintendo put out? Well, in truth, it could be one of the ones I just mentioned, but something that I've personally been thinking that I think makes a lot of sense would be another Nintendo GameCube remaster. And the one I have in mind is Luigi's Mansion, the original Luigi's Mansion. You see, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is coming out this July, and we already have Luigi's Mansion 3. If we're gonna have 2 and 3, it's gonna seem a little odd to not eventually get the original. And similar to how Nintendo put out Pikmin 1 and 2, so we could have all Pikmin games available on Switch, right before the release of Pikmin 4, I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo puts out Luigi's Mansion 1 right before the release for Luigi's Mansion 2, so we have all the Luigi's Mansion games on Switch. And I'm not asking for a Luigi's Mansion remake, which would take more work. I'm asking for them to do something basically like what they did for Pikmin 1 and 2. These games didn't see any significant visual enhancements. There was a minor visual enhancement. They were upscaled into HD, they do look a little bit better, but they're not any sort of vast improvement. There were some quality of life updates to match the Switch controls and layout, and that's basically what I'm expecting for this possible Luigi's Mansion 1 remaster that could easily be shadow dropped in an April Direct in anticipation for Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Now, I'll also say that, again, this Direct may not happen in April. If it happens in June, it might even make more sense then, because that would be right before Luigi's Mansion 2 in the following month. But on the flip side, I think it's also worth noting that we don't currently have an announced published Nintendo title coming in April. We do have Endless Ocean Luminous coming out May 2nd, so not really that big of a deal, and Princess Peach Showtime just came out a few days ago, so it's not like there's going to be a terribly long window without another Nintendo release, but it is going to be a bit more than a month. So a shadow drop in April might be something nice to really fill up the gap, but also not extremely necessary. But anyways, I'm personally pulling for Luigi's Mansion 1 Remaster. I actually want a more simple remaster of 1, more so than whatever they're doing for Luigi's Mansion 2. I just prefer the original that much more. But I'll throw out one more interesting idea for a Shadow Drop remaster before I close out here. And that would be a remaster for Kirby Air Ride. I mentioned how I think it makes sense to have some type of Nintendo racer to come out this year. If we don't get F-Zero, well, what if we get a remaster for Kirby's Air Ride, and what if it's released during the next Nintendo Direct as a quick Shadow Drop? I think a lot of people would really appreciate that, and it would go over really well. But regardless of what game Nintendo chooses as a remaster, I think once we get the next big General Direct, history shows that there is likely to be another Nintendo Shadow Drop. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.